So the time has come. My favorite segment is here. I'm putting
Here we
Reggie on
go.
the hot seat with what does it mean, covering all the latest hot topics in Minnesota sports. First one, PFF released every NFL team's 3 best players according to the analytics and names Justin Jefferson, Danielle Hunter, and Dalvin Cook for the Vikings as the best of the bunch. What does it mean when looking at the Vikings' core nucleus of young talent for the future? And would you swap anyone out on this list?
I think it means that their core nucleus has been built up to be strong. Like, kudos to the team, kudos to the talent evaluators for getting these type of guys in here, because they are some of the most exciting players in the league. Like, not just on the team, like the league. When Danielle Hunter is healthy, he is a wrecker. Like, the dude is a dude. When Dalvin Cook is healthy, even when he's playing through injury, like, he's so dynamic. One of the best running backs in the game. And Justin Jefferson, we can't say enough about him. You know, I believe he's going to be a 2,000-yard receiver next season. Like, you know, give him all the touchdowns, give him all the gritties. Like, he's just such a dynamic player in the league, one of the best wide receivers in the game. And Kevin O'Connell hit the jackpot going from Cooper Kupp to Justin Jefferson.
He upgraded.
Like that.
He's somehow upgraded.
Yeah, and it's amazing. What I will say is, it's so funny. I was looking at this list, and it's like, also considered. This is like that part where they, on the infomercial, where they start talking fast. Also considered quarterback Kirk Cousins, wide receiver Adam Thielen, edge rusher za'darius
Terms
Smith,
and
safety
conditions
Harrison
apply.
Smith. Yeah, right tackle Brian O'Neill. And so it's so funny. Like, anytime you put a team's 3 best players on here and you don't include the quarterback, you know, it's interesting, because he's kind of like the engine behind the thing that really is going to help it go. Like, he's going to be getting the ball to Dalvin Cook every play. He's going to be getting the ball to Justin Jefferson. It's just so interesting to see 2 of the 3 players on this top 3 list have had injuries. And I was looking at some of the grades that they gave to him, and Dalvin Cook had a career high 89 grade from PFF in 2020, and it went down to a career low 65.8 last season, and they called it an injury marred campaign. Well, even with the injury and all that, I don't know how it slid down that low, because Dalvin Cook had a pretty good season, considering he missed a couple games. Yeah, he had some injuries, but when he was playing, he was very, very productive. So it's kind of weird that it dropped from 89 to a 65. I feel like that's a little steep, considering, I mean, did they even watch the Pittsburgh Steelers game? Right. You know, like, any game that he played, he was contributing, he was doing his thing. And so that was interesting to see on this list. And then also Danielle Hunter, you know, talking about how, you know, since his career year in 2019, only 384 defensive snaps over the past 2 years. And so, but it speaks to, even with these guys having the injury concerns and the injury issues that they've had over the last few seasons, it speaks to just how dynamic of players that they are still included on the top 3 of the team. They could have picked, like I said, I mentioned all the other guys that they also considered. They could have picked any of those guys, but they picked those guys because they are truly special. And even with the injury history, they are still considered some of the best in the league.
I think, just for argument's sake, a little healthy debate here. You mentioned a few other names. If I was building a team, just knowing the way the league works, pass happy league, and how interchangeable some of these running backs are, no disrespect to Cook, love to have him on your team, love to watch him, breathtaking, any given play, he can go to the house. But I think Brian O'Neill may be a sneaky one to get in the mix there. All this guy has done since he's came into the league for 4 years, he's given up 6 sacks in 4 1,000 snaps,
He's
averages
good.
25 pressures allowed per year, not missed a game since becoming a starter 4 weeks into his career. Shout out to Brett Coleman on Twitter for that great stat. Again, the way the league works, having so many elite pass rushers and edge rushers, the talent is so lopsided on that side of the defensive ball that if you can find a cornerstone at tackle, whether it be left or right tackle, and being as young as Brian O'Neill still is, just starting to hit his prime right now, that's another one that maybe I would change up for Cook, just knowing, again, how interchangeable some running backs are from time to time. All right, next one up. MLB.com released their way too early Rookie of the Year projections. Number 3 on that list was Twins pitcher Joe Ryan, who's been lights out this season with a 2.2 ERA and a .99 whip. With Ryan set to miss time now after landing on the COVID list, what does it mean for his chances to keep up with the others on the list like Astros shortstop Jeremy Pena for the end of the year award?
It's a long season, and he'll come back from this COVID list, and you hope that when he comes back, he doesn't miss a beat. And everything that we've seen from this guy has just kind of shown that he's just kind of locked in, rock solid. And I think he's going to continue to grow in his role. And, you know, look, these lists that they make, a lot of times they're just way too early to make a lot of these lists. And Pena has been great, you know, taking over for Carlos Correa in Houston. They really haven't missed a beat. And I think it's sometimes tough to have a position player, unless he's just like dominating, like just absolutely crushing it, which Pena is doing. But a lot of times, you know, things kind of tilt and shift towards pitchers. And so if Ryan continues to keep up at this pace when he comes back from the COVID list, and he continues to win games, and he continues to keep the ERA down, and that whip is not nay-naying, you know, I think it's gonna be fun to see where he stacks up with this rookie class, and with how he's continuing to grow and develop. He really is mature and kind of feels seasoned beyond his years, and he's just a really like low-key guy, locked-in guy. He's not a big rah-rah dude, you know what I mean? Like, not really a huge like personality type of guy. He just wants to pitch. He goes in there, he handles business, mows these hitters down. And, you know, it's interesting to see, you know, as the season goes along and he kind of faces some of these teams, especially in the division, more than once, multiple times, it's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts to how they're adjusting to him. But I think he has the temperament, and I think he has the skill and the talent level to really kind of challenge pitchers, or challenge hitters, I should say, game in and game out.
You take out the one start against the Astros, and these numbers would be, I mean, gaudy. But outside of that, this guy's been rock solid. My only concern is that these 10, 15, 20 days kind of sputters that momentum that he had. It seemed like he was just getting better and better every time he got out, really getting to a rhythm, getting his feet underneath him. But I love the fact that you mentioned, you're right, when it comes to these awards, these guys that vote on this really take into account how valuable this pitcher position is versus some of these other positions. So certainly should be in the mix if he comes back and continues right where he left off for Rookie of the Year when it's all said and done.